Hey there, welcome to this week's episode of Bloomerang TV. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Steven, and I'm the VP of Marketing here at Bloomerang. And today I'm joined by my friend John Lepp. He's a partner over at Agents of Good up in Toronto, Canada. Thanks for joining us today, John.
Thanks, Stephen. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So John, maybe before we begin, you could tell us a little bit about all the work you're doing over there at Agents of Good. What are you guys up to these days?
Sure. We're a small firm, but mighty. We work with charities and not-for-profits across Canada, as well as a few agencies in Canada and Ireland and Australia. And we're just focusing on showing love, lots of love and appreciation and gratitude towards donors at every turn, basically.
Showing love is good. We definitely are champions of that as well. So one of the things you guys do is you help folks with their direct mail campaigns. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, we do direct mail. We do really everything. We do a lot of online websites, direct mail. We're sort of in all the channels as much as we possibly can be. It depends on the campaign or what we're trying to do. But yeah, both Jen and I, my partner Jen and I, our background is in direct response as well as advertising and marketing. So that's where a lot of our base, our foundation work still is. And certainly direct mail is a place that there's a whole lot of room for love and attention for donors, because I think in the last 20 years it's become so automated and so like out of the box, and just put a new logo on it and just change the letter. It's lost a lot of the sort of thoughtfulness and the appreciation that maybe it used to have.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's manufactured, just like everything else in this world, and that's a big problem.
It seems like we kind of hit the digital age, and maybe direct response and direct mail kind of got a bad rap, but I feel like it's coming back a little. There are people like Tom Ahern and other communications experts who are saying, hey, direct mail is still viable and actually can be really effective. Are you sensing kind of that backswing a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. For all the people and all the charities who go on about, all looking at digital and social media and looking at the younger audiences, those things are important. But for most charities I know that do direct mail, that's what makes them the most money. But for some reason, people like to kick it while it's down. And I think part of it too is just because I think it gets a bad rap because a lot of it is so crappy. People are like, oh, who's producing this junk? And a lot of it, I'll be frank, is junk. I mean, I hold sort of my mother-in-law up. She's a traditional like Jane donor in Canada, and this is what I usually get from her on like this is just the last month, and it's this time of year in Canada is quiet for direct mail, and that's how much she gets, and it's brutal. Like it's boring. It talks about how awesome this organization is and all the amazing work it's doing. It doesn't give any of the credit to her as a donor, and it's really frustrating. But it fuels our work and the work we do with our clients to make sure that we're not doing that.
So you talk about junk and talk about yourself and all these things. What are some more of those things that you see people doing that they shouldn't do? What do you tell people that a direct mail piece should actually accomplish or look like or communicate?
Well, at the end of the day, the donor should feel like they're the hero. And we make sure we go to great lengths to tell them really great stories about either how they helped do something or how they can help change something. We bring it back to all the things we accomplish. We do because people like you care and love for us. And we use a really emotional language, I think, in a lot of our DM pieces. I think the other thing that I see time and time again that people are forgetting is that a lot of charities seem to rely on one tool in their communications toolbox, which is usually around some sort of thing to make you sad. And we use all of the emotions. We try to get donors angry. We try to make them laugh. We try to get them sobbing. We try to really use all these different tools we have in our toolbox to really get the donors involved with what we're trying to tell them and what we're asking them to do today. And again, we don't necessarily do it all in one pack. It's a ongoing journey, and so just make sure we're hitting all the different notes along the way.
Yeah, I like striking the emotion chord is really important. How do you strike the chord of making the donor feel like a real champion of the organization? What are some tactics, maybe some words or phrases that you employ that really make the donor feel like, hey, they're the star of the show, they're really the one making the impact?
Well, I think from the very, very get-go, when they get a DM piece, if they're presented with a problem and they're told how they can solve the problem, and a good DM pack should only have one problem. You shouldn't be asking for one thing. And if you ask for one thing and you make it very easy for the person to take the action you're asking them to take, these are things that I think on a subconscious level people appreciate. It's sort of like, we talk to charities who are like, no, our donors, this is too simplistic for our donors, or no, that we'd like to be scientific because our donors are very intelligent, and those things may be true, but I think that when we use jargon and we do some of these, we don't tell good stories, we use very long words, I think that it leaves people feeling a little like if you don't get it, you feel a little stupid. So we make sure we're doing everything. We make it easy for them to take action. We give them very big coupons with lots of space for them to write in their information. We make it all easy, and I think that, again, on a subconscious level, makes the person feel, yeah, I get this. I understand what I'm going to have to do. I can do it very easily. I feel rewarded for that. Then when they get their thank you, it actually refers to how much they gave and what happened with that money and how it was useful. And so every time you go and talk to them again, you want to make sure you're referring to them and about their importance and why we need them. And again, inspire them to continue their action. Again, they're not going to take action every single time, and that's not really the point. The point is that you take them along the journey, they feel like they're a part of that journey, and they're an important part, whether they give $20 or $200,000.
Is there a piece that stands out in your mind that maybe you worked on or maybe that you've received that you really thought just nailed it and was perfect? What did they do so well?
Oh God, that's a really good. No, perfect. I think that occasionally we some people know us for doing these sort of surprise and delight mailings, and we did what we call a truck package for Second Harvest a couple of years ago. And basically, Second Harvest is their food rescue operation, and they make sure food gets into people's hands before it goes to waste. And they needed a new truck for the organization, and so we did this truck pack, and the package actually came from the truck. And the truck talks about how he was sitting on this lot, and he knew his lot in life was to work with Second Harvest and the donors to deliver the food to people who needed it. And so he made the pitch, and the donors just, they just went crazy. There was an illustration of the truck, and he signed the letter beep beep, and it was kind of playful, and you could take a set of keys and put it onto the coupon as a sort of an involvement device to, the gifts went off the charts. It was really, really cool. But again, we gave donors a really compelling reason to do something, and we made it fun. I always say to the client, when was the last time you had a client call you up, a donor call you up, and laughing at something they got from you? Probably never, and even my mother-in-law, my poor mother-in-law, I'm like, when was the last time a charity did something that made you feel cherished, special, and like you're walking on clouds? And the answer was dead silence.
Right.
Never. And I think that charities don't go, what can we do to make this person feel remarkable? And how can we do that in direct mail? How can we do that online? How can we do that with a phone call? What are things can we send a card? What can we do to acknowledge these people in our lives are very, very important? But again, I think charities have just wanted to sort of distance themselves from donors, and right. There are these people over here, and I see a lot of charities doing a lot to sort of create these walls, and I don't understand why, and I don't understand why people have trouble using emotional language. Everyone's so afraid of that, and I think social media is really cool this way because it's reduced us to being ourselves. The people
right.
themselves are the ones that stand out the most, and the ones who are just these like corporate walls just blend into the background. And as charities, it's only when you become yourself and you have a voice and you have an emotional range and you tell great stories and you actually care what the person on the other end is thinking and doing and what you're asking them to do, then that's when the amazing, amazing stuff happens. So we're lucky a lot of our charities that we do work with, most of them buy into this philosophy, and the ones that do, I'm astounded at the results that we get. Yeah. My mind. Blows my mind.
I love it. I'm not surprised to hear that when they start telling those authentic stories. So we're actually recording this. It's near the end of August. It seems like folks are probably gearing up for maybe their year-end appeals, maybe their holiday appeals. And I want to get your advice before we go. What's one piece of advice you would have for folks who are maybe starting to plan that process, or maybe they've got something written and they're ready to send? What should they be thinking about? What's the number one thing in your mind?
Well, again, when was the last time you made your donor the hero? And part of making them the hero, there's a piece that we develop for our clients as part of their packs, and usually it's once a year at some point, and it's an opportunity to sort of look on the things that you've accomplished in this year, and your donor was involved in that. They made this possible, X, Y, and Z, and then usually sort of a look, a bit of a vision towards the coming year. Here are the things that we're going to focus on, again, with your help. This is totally going to be possible, and the world's going to be so much better by you helping. And that's a piece that, again, it's a report. It's a simple 2-page, double-sided. Donors get why they're an important part of this thing. So that's one piece. Year end is notoriously good for fundraising because donors are generally feeling really good about giving.
Right.
But you still need to tell them a really good story. You still need to ask them for something and explain why you're asking for it. I mean, like, these are really simple things, but often overlooked. Just because it's year end, just because it's Christmas, isn't enough. Sorry.
I agree. Well, cool. Well, John, this is really great advice. Where can folks learn more about you? Where can they follow you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter at John Lepp, Lepp, and agentsofgood.org, probably the two main places you can find us. And it's an open door policy around here. In other words, anyone has questions anytime about anything, I'm usually happy to talk, unless there's 100,000 of you, then that might be fun.
Hopefully we will. We'll send those to you.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, do reach out to John if you have any questions about your direct mail before you hit the post office this holiday or year-end season. So, John, thanks again.
Thanks.
And thanks to everyone for tuning into this episode. We will catch you next week, so we'll talk to you then. Bye now.